Hey, welcome back to the Messy Bookshelf. I'm Jennifer, and today I'm going to be doing my Bout of Books 13.0 wrap-up, if you can call it that. Let's take a look back at what my TBR was at the beginning of the week. So, the books that I was planning on reading this week were Sex Criminals Volume 2, Amulet Book 3, Tricks by Ellen Hopkins, and The Assassin's Blade, the Throne of Glass novellas. What I actually read this week was Sex Criminals Volume 2, Amulet Book 3, Tricks by Ellen Hopkins, 28 pages of The Assassin's Blade, and about 100 pages of Saint Anything by Sarah Dessen. I started this book right when it came out, and I was really enjoying it, but because of the readathon, I decided to put it down and read the other books instead. But when it came to actually reading novels, aka The Assassin's Blade, I wasn't really into it, so I picked this one back up, and I'm absolutely loving this. I'm about 200 pages in, so that's about halfway through, and I plan on getting this finished in the next couple of days between working and studying and walking and sleeping, showering, cleaning. This summer is not as easy as I thought it was going to be. I was expecting to be able to do so much reading this summer, and so far I've done very, very little. May hasn't been my worst month this year so far, but it also hasn't been my best, that being January. But I think January tends to be a good month for a lot of people anyway, because the first of the year you get a lot of momentum and you get going. But then the book slump happens, and you get drowned out for a couple of months. And then you think you're back on track, and you're like, yay, I'm back on track. I can do a readathon, no problem. No. Sex Criminals Volume 2 was okay. I thought it was better than the first one, but I still wasn't really enjoying it. I rated it 3 stars. Amulet Book 3 was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. The series amazing. Like, the artwork is perfection, the characters are perfection. I just love this series as much as one could possibly love a series, I think. And I gave Amulet Book 3 5 stars. Then I got to Tricks. Now, the only books that I've read by Ellen Hopkins before were Crank and Glass. I never ever got to Fallout, but according to my roommate, it's mostly about our kids, so it's not that big of a deal, but I will get to eventually. So I had really high hopes for Tricks, and the first 300 pages were such a letdown. They were so hard to get through. I actually had to talk to my roommate and look on Goodreads at the reviews to make sure I actually wanted to continue reading this book, because it was so dragged out and so boring, and the characters' parents annoyed me to no end, which caused the characters to annoy me to no end. And the second half of the book, yes, some pretty crazy shit happens, and it really sucks, but it just wasn't what I was expecting, and I think I gave it 4 stars out of obligation, because I felt if I gave it any lower than 4 stars, it would make me look bad, because it's a book about these kids being forced into prostitution and being kept by old men, and it's not a good environment, and honestly, I blame the parents. Every single one of those parents were out of their crazy ass minds. They were such dicks, and they just ended up leaving these kids to themselves, so these kids felt like they had no other solution than to go off and do these things and get themselves in trouble. And it really annoys me that there are parents out there that do these sorts of things. Like, how could you possibly do this to your child? And that's like in Saint Anything. I don't want to go into it very much, but again, the parental figures of the main characters are just really shitty lately in the books that I've been reading, and it really sucks because I love my parents. My parents were amazing. I blame my entire upbringing on them and how well that I've been brought up. But yeah, it's just I'm seeing a trend of really shitty parents, and it would have been nice if maybe one of the parents in the books weren't as shitty and the kids still ended up getting in trouble because of their own choices and not making choices because of choices made by their parents. It got drawn out. I think if the storyline in Tricks, I think if it was based on one character and we got an in-depth look at that character, then maybe I would have liked it more, but it just seemed like the characters were very surface level. And I just couldn't connect with them, and the book just didn't do it for me. And that really kind of sucks, because I really do enjoy Ellen Hopkins' writing, but the characters were just surface level, nothing more. But other than that, I do plan on reading The Assassin's Blade at some point. It was just not the right book for this readathon right now. I do know that there is another readathon coming this week, but with my work schedule in the next 2 weeks is crazy busy, and I'm not going to get a whole lot of reading done, especially with the studying for my LSAT that I have to do is taking up a lot of my time as well. So I'm hoping once my LSAT is written, I'll be able to get more reading done. So right now I'm just focusing book by book and not really looking too far into the future when it comes to what I'm reading, other than what's currently on my TBR shelf on my bed, which you can kind of see right here. So that's it for today. Did you participate in the Bout of Books readathon or the Crush Your TBR readathon? That went on as well this weekend. I wouldn't say I really participated because I didn't really do a whole lot of reading the weekend. I did a bit of reading on Sunday, but that's really about it, so I'm not really counting my participation into that readathon. Are you participating in the new readathon? I think it's like Read Your Bookshelf-a-thon. Are you participating in that one? If so, what books do you think you'll be reading, and what do you think about readathons? Are they actually good for getting through lots of books, or do they tend to be letdowns? See you next time. Bye!